Morning. You guys look serious.
Good morning, everyone. This is Delegate James.
Good morning, Chair. This is Karen. Right now, we don't have any other members on the line, and we have Mr. Toth here at the BNF conference room.
Good morning. Are there any other delegates on the line besides myself and Honorable Toth?
Sir, I don't see any other members who have called in.
Okay, Rodney, you guys are streaming now.
Legislative Advisor, Ms. Benali, is there any other members on the line?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Ms. Benali.
Just yourself right now. Delegate Toth stepped out of the conference room. Oh, he's here. He's present. Yeah, in the conference room. So it's yourself and the delegate Tobin.
Okay, thank you. How can I do this? Is Miss Arvizo on the call?
Yes, she was. Yes, she is, Chair.
Good morning, Chairman. I am here.
Good morning, Miss Emily Arvizo. Thank you for being on the call. Maybe what we could do is we could go to you directly now until we have a quorum. And then I'll go ahead and stop you in the middle of your presentation when we do get a quorum. There is myself and Delegate Toth on present at the moment. Is that okay with you, Ms. Arvizo?
Okay. Yes, that is fine. Thank you.
So with that, I'll go
I
ahead
just,
and you may begin, Ms. Arvizo. There's myself and Delegate Toth.
okay. Good morning, Anyate, Honorable Chair Vince James, and those members who are present of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee. My name is Emily K. Arvizo. My clans are Toahane, Shlint, Eyes, Kidney, Bushes, Chin, Tambahi, A. Dasache, Zinabitni, A. Dashanala, Seka Hodzana, De Sha, Sigan, Do, Total Don't De Nasha. I am the Associate Deputy Director for BIE Navajo Schools. I am a lifelong educator with 34 years of combined public school and Bureau of Indian Education experience as a classroom teacher, elementary, high school principal, education specialist, special assistant to the Associate Deputy Director, and now the Associate Deputy Director of BIE Navajo. So to provide some background of BIE, my role is to support and provide leadership for 66 Bureau schools. This includes 34 Bureau-operated schools and 32 tribally controlled schools, including 1 contract school and 6 residential programs with a combined student enrollment of 9,483 students. And we have a total of 1,419 school and district employees. For my last decade that I've been a member of this team, we have strengthened our focus on gathering data to make decisions. We have created a collaborative culture. We do have challenges that may arise, and we seek solutions to address what has come about. We are always looking to meet our challenges and continue forward. Under my leadership, we have established a district-wide collaborative culture with a clear focus on results and data-driven organization. The Bureau of Indian Education has adopted and embraces the 5 core values of excellence, focus, integrity, respect, and service. BIE Navajo has a commitment to establish and foster a government-to-government relationship with Navajo Nation Office of the President and Vice President and the 25th Navajo Nation Council, as well as Department of Education and the NIST School Board Association to work collaboratively in the best interest of our Navajo students while upholding and respecting both the Navajo Nation Code and the Code of Federal Regulations. We at BIE continue to strive for academic excellence. Our mission focuses on K-12 and high academic standards, and a desire for all students to develop the knowledge, skills, and behaviors necessary to progress successfully through school, and also to be prepared for post-secondary education and career opportunities. So this is We are as BIA Navajo. We do follow the BIA strategic direction goals, which are our goal 1 is high quality early childhood education. Goal 2 is wellness, behavioral health, and safety. Goal 3 is K-12 instruction and high academic standards. Goal 4 is post-secondary and career readiness. Goal 5 is self-determination, and goal 6 is performance management. And all our goals that I had earlier stated are all instilled throughout each of our strategic direction. And that's where our work is aligned to. It is our purpose in our day-to-day operations. I do have a leadership team of education program administrators. I have Dr. Rena Yazzie, who's the education program administrator for school operation. She is located at the Shiprock ERC office. Dr. Edie Morris is the education program administrator for our Arizona and Utah Bureau operated schools. She works out of the Winter Rock office. Mr. John McIntosh is the education program administrator for New Mexico Bureau operated schools. He also works out of the Winter Rock office. And I have Dr. Leo Johnson, who is the acting education program administrator for our tribally controlled schools in New Mexico and Arizona. And then currently Mr. Charles Sherman is the acting special assistant to me as associate deputy director. We do have, sharing a bit about our leadership, we went through a reorganization change in 2014, moving from education line offices to education program administrators and establishing needed positions such as our school board education specialist. We do have that. We have a school safety specialist. We have a student behavior health specialist, as well as 2 positions for curriculum instruction and assessment, And then we have a language and culture specialist, as well as a residential specialists. We have education specialists that are housed out in our ERCs. We've got 1 in Tuba City ERC, got 3 that work out of Chinle ERC. We have 3 that work out of the Winter Rock ERC and 1 that works out of the Crown Point ERC. And we do have 3 types of education services, which is an important concept as school board members for tribally controlled and bureau operated schools. The 3 types of education services is public law 95-561 bureau operated schools, and those I mentioned earlier are 32. These schools receive direct supervision from our education program administrators, and our school board utilizes the 25 CFR and they act in the capacity of consultants or advisory. Public Law 100-297, those are our tribally controlled schools, which we have 32. They have their own management system authorized by the Navajo Nation, and it's the school board has the local authority. We also have 1 contract school that is Public Law 93-638. It's a self-determination school. The school board also has local authority. So that's who we are as a Navajo Area Bureau of Indian Education. Do you want me to move through the points, like to the next point, Honorable Chair?
Thank you, Ms. Arvizo. Let me check it and see if we have had other committee members join the meeting. Ms. Benali?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I did test, we have Mr. Delegate Yomito on the line, and Delegate Helena Nestigay has arrived in the, being a conference room.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, Ms. Arvizo, I'm gonna have you go on pause for the moment of providing your report. Thank you for providing that information up to this far. And I will go ahead and call the meeting to order here. The Health, Education, Human Service Committee meeting of the 25th Navajo Nation Council. Special meeting, April 5th, 2023, starting at 10 a.m. and presiding is Honorable Vince James, Chairperson. With that, I will go ahead and call the meeting to order here at 10:15 a.m. With that, I'd like to move on to roll call. Ms. Benali?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is a roll call for the Health, Education, Human Service Committee special meeting, April 5th, 2023. And the time is 10:14. Delegate Helen Nesbitt, present. Thank you. Chair Vince James.
Delegate James is present.
Thank you. Delegate Dr. Andy Nez. I believe he's excused.
Dr. Andy Nez is excused.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Jermaine Simonson.
Vice Chair is also excused for today's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Delegate George Toth.
Present.
Thank you. And Delegate Curtis Yanito. Delegate Curtis Yanito. Can you answer roll call? Delegate Yanito, can you press *6 to unmute yourself? Delegate Curtis Yanito? Okay, we did receive a text from Delegate Yanito indicating that he doesn't have any audio.
Honorable Curtis Yanito, is it possible for you to text that you're present? I don't have anything on my end receiving anything regarding him being present.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, you have 3 members answering roll call at the present time. That is not a quorum.
Okay, we'll go ahead and give the floor back to Ms. Arvizo to move on and provide a report, and hopefully the Honorable Yanito can figure out his technical issues that he's running into, and hopefully we'll get back to roll call. So with that, I'll go ahead and give the floor back to Ms. Arvizo since she is on the line. Ms. Arvizo, if you can also provide us some information regarding the St. Stephen's Indian School on the Wind River Reservation in Wyoming. I think that was one of the main concerns that we were receiving from Honorable Toth. So I'll go ahead and I'll give you some time, Ms. Arvizo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, to proceed, St. Stephen's Indian School on Wind River Reservation in Wyoming. This was a former tribally controlled school, which retroceded back to the Bureau of Indian Education, meaning the tribe gave the school back to BIE to operate. And this happened right before the school year 2022-2023, I believe could have been sometime in May or June, but it was not enough time to prepare a full school to receive those students who were going to be starting school in August. So that it is now a bureau operated school. And usually when this happens, the school is, at least we get 90 days or more to really establish the school on our end from bureau operated, you know, the programs, the staffing, hire the staffing, because every person that is associated with tribally controlled school, they're no longer employed unless they reapply for the position. In this case, I'm not sure exactly how many reapplied, but there was huge vacancies across the school, and they are a K-12 school. So with that situation that came about, and it's very unusual for us to be in a situation as such, the Bureau of the central office called upon all regions of BIE across the nation, and that included the region, tribally controlled school region, under the watch of Dr. Cherry Portra, who is the ADD region, and then the Bureau operated schools region under the supervision of Associate Deputy Director Henke Ortiz, and then as well as our region here on Navajo. So they call for assistance and support while they're able, you know, giving time for them to establish and be able to hire teachers, cooks, bus drivers, every position that makes up a school. That's what we actually started, you know, on ground zero. So with that being, and not, you know, there is a process with applications and such and background checks. But when the school doors open, the school did not have enough staff to carry and open the doors for all those students who were going to be arriving. So with that, that's where the details came about and the requests to support the school in Wyoming. And we all responded. BIE Navajo responded, BOS responded, tribally controlled schools responded, Department of Performance and Accountability responded, as well as central office in DC responded. So we all had staff across the district and in our schools that were detailed to St. Stephen's Indian School for a period of either 30 days, 60 days, or a 90-day detail. The district here in Navajo, we sent 6 of our district employees to support in different capacities wherever the need is. You know, temporary details is when there's a need and in emergency situations, and this is what St. Stephen's was in an emergency situation. So these details are on staggered details. We're not all up there at the same time for the same amount of period, for the same period of time. So district had 6, we sent 6 up since, I believe, August, September. We currently have 2 district staff that are detailed to St. Stephen's. So we also had looked to our schools, you know, talking with our school principals and explaining the situation. So the school leaders identified possible positions from their schools that they could also would be able to provide support to St. Stephen's, knowing that they had a person back home in their school to take their positions that they may vacate for that period of time. So within our schools, we've had 15 people within the schools that have received details across Navajo. And it's just not from one school. There is a variety of schools that have offered to give up, and not all our schools could respond because, you know, they too were facing vacancies that they could not cover if they sent one of their staff up. So as of today, we've had a detail in the position of a business manager. We have sent a cook up. We have sent 2 kitchen helpers. I guess that would be cooks the cafeteria staff, and that would be a total of 3. We've sent 3 bus drivers to help with driving the buses and picking up students. We've had 2 custodians positions, 2 people go up in those positions. Ed techs, we've had 2, and then facility management, we had 1 person. So those are the total details that we have helped support with. Details positions we have supported to St. Stephen's. This school will be coming to a close pretty soon, and they will continue to seek permanent staff for that school. So that's where the staffing and the details to St. Stephen's. So details are can be issued at in emergency situations to fulfill a position. And with federal employees, we all are expected to fulfill a detail should we receive one. And in this situation, some of our staff did receive a detail, and they either traveled by plane, or some had requested their personal vehicle to take up. All travel is reimbursed. So all of their, if they take to a POV, they were reimbursed for the mileage that they took up. They're reimbursed for their food, meals, and any kind of for the meals that they are. And then also there was an incentive added to these employees that were on detail at St. Stephen's, and they were awarded what we call a STAR award, which is a monetary award for those staff that have perhaps gone above and beyond their call of duty or their assigned task. So all employees that went up for 30 days were going to receive $1,500 upon their completion, and they had to complete the detail. If they were there for 60 days, they're to receive a $3,000 monetary award. And if they're there for 90 days, then they're to receive a $5,000 monetary award. All expenses are being paid out of St. Stephen's from their account, as well as central office is covering, I believe, the incentive awards. So Navajo is not paying for it's not coming out of our budget for any of the details of our employees outside of Navajo. I know, so that's pretty much what I have regarding detail employees. And I know that when problems arise, staff are expected to follow the chain of command in seeking to resolve those problems. This is particularly important within an arrangement such as ours, since the issue of BIA employees needed to be addressed by BIA supervisors, and the issues of the district employees need to be addressed by district supervisors. So we do have that expectation of, should any problems arise in any situation, that they are reported first to their direct supervisors. Not raising these issues through the correct forums established for those purposes may mean that the person who receives the matter may not have the authority to resolve the concern, may be unfamiliar with the applicable policies, procedures, and which govern the situation, and may leave all parties dissatisfied with the outcomes. So as far as any concerns about any details from our district or school staff, I have not received any concerns at this level, nor have my education program administrators received any concerns about fulfilling a detail with any of our staff employees. But all in all, it's a unique situation that arose this year with St. Stephen's Indian School, and as a BIU organization, we're there to support where we can in any given situation that may arise, whether it be on Navajo or any other region. And I would hope that if we were in that same situation here, that they too may respond to us in fulfilling the needs that may be vacant, that we may need to be fulfilled. Are there any questions?
Thank you again, Ms. Arvizo, for providing that information regarding the St. Stephen situation that's going on there regarding the detailed employees. With that, I believe Honorable George Toth does have some questions, so I'll go ahead and give him the floor. Mr. Toth?
Chair James, this is Anthony Zanella. I believe we have Delegate Anita on the call now.
Okay, thank you for that information, Ms. Benali. Honorable Unito, are you on the call? Honorable Unito, are you on the call?
Yes, I have problem
Okay.
getting on call now. Thank you.
All right, then with that, Ms. Benali, roll call, Ms. Arvizo, let me go back on to calling the meeting to order and then also doing the roll call. And then we'll come back to you, and I'll go ahead and go directly into receiving a motion in a second, and then we'll get the questions and the concerns coming from Honorable George Toth. So with that, let me call this meeting back to order at 10:31 a.m. And next item on the agenda is roll call. Ms. Benali?
Yes, this is a roll call for the Health Education and Human Services Committee special meeting April 5th, 2023. Delegate Helena Nesbitt, present. Thank you. Delegate Vince James.
Delegate James is present.
Thank you. Delegate Dr. Andy Ness is excused. And Vice Chair Delegate Jermaine Simonson is also excused. Delegate George Toth.
I'm here.
Thank you. Delegate Curtis Unito.
I'm here online. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Benito. Mr. Chair, you have 4 members answering roll call. That constitutes a quorum.
Thank you very much, Ms. Benali, for the roll call. With that, next item on the agenda is invocation. I'll go ahead and provide the invocation this morning. Kodam hujado le honshmash khati linti ko kwai kayats iska has ani honso des in linigi benj ahnanas dito le kwagi yat betanasistra shinat dan le ko beshmas anin hit no what ben hjaut ulzen ado le hit ne benat nit lo what hunzaten ni hit na while jishin le ko Kodod Health Education Human Service Committee what Atlanate Kwanza in his position hinan statot beshmas anani kliniki ko de quigo shins got the nation has anje what abigitnit kunzaten his position le ko kodot so des in lini be has the even nachet kodobik Atlanate lido le ke das to ke da na ida bakagin jono ban dasit indon jono be dasit zi do le ko ado benach kodot so des in lini be shaho agit skoche ein hik kache ke ya da beto jije na has age ko ziltin sinel bik ke honit ni gidot ke at ojo ein hidene kato benanish be ultra dat ko ina de del ko Kod out it als wanted edition so in the snare ko adon al glossy bezin subzits is na hold out out even nationally to litni his a lot so they catching but that is tonas large yanas large hot job dini to litni kon hai anito o ali be ko put out abin so do benesh anit if on so this in linigi be has state to litha ashad ahna kosni yasni Just not gentle, just stop all sleep the bend side, just now, just all in for her. Now, when the agent so it's not none, the snow if also there's a lily bench, Hanana street, Dobby, Hanana street, or let was not sleep, was not sleep, was not sleep, was not sleep. So with that, I'll go ahead and move on to the announcements. Committee members, do we have any announcements?
No announcement from Mr. Toth.
Okay, I don't hear anybody else. With that, thank you, Mr. Toth. And then moving on to number 2, recognition for guests and visiting officials, committee members. Do we have any?
No.
We don't have
Joseph
any.
Scott.
No.
Okay, thank you. With that, we don't have any recognition guest and visiting official, but as chair of HEHSC committee, I'd like to recognize each and every one of you that are on the call, and then also that are present, and then those that are joining. Thank you for joining us here at our HEHSC meeting. And then moving on to item number 3, which is review and adopt the agenda. Ms. Benali.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the Health Education and Human Services Committee, you have your proposed agenda for the Health Education and Human Services Commission for Examination Council special meeting, April 5th, 2023, 10 a.m. Presiding the Honorable Vince R. James, Chairperson. Place is the Budget and Finance Conference Room via telecommunications, Winter Rock, Navajo, Arizona. 1, call meeting to order, roll call, invocation, announcements. 2, recognize guests and visiting officials. 3, review and adopt the agenda. 4, reviewing and adopting the journals. 5, receiving reports, discussion. And you have a report regarding the Bureau of Indian Education. I'm sorry, the Navajo Area Bureau of Indian Education. And it's regarding the St. Stephen's Indian School on Wind River Reservation in Wyoming. Regarding the staffing, the Navajo Area BIE and BIE Human Services staff transfers and assignments to the exterior Navajo Nation region by reassignment or detailed Navajo area school employees. Utilizing Navajo Area BIE budget for reassignments or detailed employees outside the Navajo Nation, or the Navajo area. Presenters are the Bureau of Indian Education, Navajo Area, Ms. Emily Arvizo, Deputy Director.
Welcome to Zoom. Wait for your meeting ID.
And Dr. John McIntosh, Education Program Administrator, Navajo Area. Dr. Leo Johnson, Education Program Administrator, Navajo Area. Dr. Rima Yazzie, Education Program Administrator, Navajo Area BIE. Ms. Sharon Pinto, Deputy Bureau Director for School Operations. The presentation, Stock and Healer Program to Schools on Navajo Nation. Presenters, Mr. Peter Neds, Liaison to Navajo Nation Schools with the Navajo Community Asthma Program with the National Jewish Health Program. 6, old business none. 7, new business. A is legislation number 0042-23. B is legislation number 0045-23. 8, closing meetings, announcements, and adjournment. We have a special meeting on Friday, April 7th, 2023. And travel for the will be on April 8th and April 16th. Also, the Navajo Nation Council Spring Session is going to be April 17th through the 26th, 2023. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Benali, for the, reviewing and going over the agenda for today's meeting. With that, committee members, do I have a motion?
I motion there, Chair. Mr. Toth.
Motion made by Honorable George Toth. Do I have a second?
I'll second Delegate Nasty.
Second made by Honorable Helena Nasbigay. Are there any questions, amendments, or correction that needs to be made to the agenda that was read into the record? Going once.
Chair, Mr. Toth here.
Honorable Toth.
I just wanted to request, if possible, I've been getting calls from veterans from agency that the director, appointed directors firing everybody left to right with no calls. We wanted to address, if possible, can we set an urgent meeting, bring the director before the committee, even the staff, the president and vice. HEHSC Mahalatishma Article 8. Computer that's what I've been getting that email and phone calls mostly every day. This is happening. So if possible, we can probably after the trip or sometime this week, right away, we have I don't think we have good time to HEHSC conducts it only. So I don't know what their schedule is. This is a serious matter, Chair. I will be at the appointment that we confirmed that we now. It's very urgent that we need to discuss this matter. Machine thought of our communism chair. And so it's kind of, we're hurting our people out there. So, John Don thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Dan, Honorable Todd for that information and the concern. Kwadod, Ms. Benali, maybe you can see if you can get in contact with Chief of Staff and see when he's available, and maybe we can come back to this when we get an answer from you to see when they have some time to discuss this matter that was brought up by Honorable George Toth. Ms. Benali.
Okay, I'll email the chief of staff.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you. Appreciate it. And then Ash, we'll go ahead and see what time availability Chief of Staff, Mr. Patrick Sandoval has, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Oh, with that, are there any other questions, amendments, corrections, or deletion of the agenda, committee members? If there is none, going once. If there is going twice, I'll go ahead and call for the roll call vote to adopt our agenda for today's meeting. Honorable Helena Nasbigay.
I vote green.
Honorable George Toth.
Aye, green.
Honorable Curtis Yanito.
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Dr. Andy Nez and Vice Chair Jermaine Simonson are both excused. With that, we have 3 members in favor, 2 committee members excused and not voting, and chair not voting. With that, we do have an agenda before us. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on to review and adopt the journal. There is none. And then item number 5, receiving report. While we were waiting for a quorum, I went and moved on to hearing a report from Bureau of Indian Education, NAFL Area Office, Associate Deputy Director for NAFL Area Bureau of Indian Education, Ms. Emily Arvizo, has provided information in regards to the staffing of the NAFL Area BIA, and also providing the NAFL Bureau of Indian Education of the St. Stephen's Indian Schools on One River Reservation in Wyoming. And so we completed, and then she also talked about the BIE Human Resource on detailed employees in regards to detail of staffing and emergency situation. She did go over that information while we were waiting for a quorum. So with that, committee members, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept and receive her report that she has provided to us up to this far. Committee members,
My motions, sir. Chair.
thank you. Honorable Don George Toth for that motion. Do I have a second? Committee members?
I'll go ahead and second that.
With that, thank you, Shade, for making that second. Do put up it kino aj ko hihat kodon hitna hamne ako unlaid ahwiz undid eya I orkan denisa ang kodo ni hitna and denigi ka ako eya ilang nishin denigi eya I ado edo lich put out a baby check out zero a quag a banate ko olka adisha sa ako St. Stephen's bidi no ko. Do hot abe bit o jo ol khasa ko aden ni hidden ne san dat ne ko e kwaki ba yel ki do be ben hit na has ne ko ke hona aje sila de da sa higi Miss Emily Arviso e aje hot ayen hit na has ne yen hit hona do ko ako kodo be case then ye that's not get a honorable George Toto ye ke ni ya ge honorable Helena Nesbitt ko kwaki na de kit linigi do sabi hadis no so ipai given committee members no kliniki. With that, are there any committee members that have any questions and concern? Honorable Don George Toth, I'll go ahead and give you the floor.
Thank you, Chair Ashto. Good morning to all the listeners on the call. Also, we have visitors here at the Budget and Finance Conference Room, the staff and everybody. Good morning, Ms. Arviso.
Good morning, Honorable Toth.
Yeah, this is Mr. Toth from Customer Lake. I oversee, not oversee, I work with a chapter from Eastern, from Baca all the way up to Torium, Consular, in that area. I was the one that brought this issue before the committee. I have a next door neighbor, parents came up to me about 3 weeks ago concerning about their child. I guess that child was sent out to Wyoming. And about after that, another email came in that these kids were threatening our kids. They were using F words and then said, now you go home and all that. So my concern, the delegation and reassignment, I have no problem with it, but the problem I see is our kids are being threatened. So my concern was about safety of our kids. And I don't want our kids, the teachers that were assigned to be injured or harassed and all that. So that's my main concern. I know government to government relation, but I think if we're going to do that, then we have to think about our kids. And so that's the reason why I brought this issue. I even contact the office, executive branch, the president and vice. So that's how this came about. So my concern, and also how are our kids being treated down there, and I'm very disappointed. There's no, I don't know how you've been handling that. So that's the main concern about our kids being down there, being threatened, being harassed and all that. I'm worried about that because that's our kids. So I just let you know what's up to the state, what's happening. If this is under control, we don't know. So we're glad to hear it in your office, and so I can inform the family. This past weekend, I met one of the individual that was assigned. She was happy to be back. So they also have families, that needs to be considered, and they have loved ones, especially they have elderlies. Their parents are elderlies. Without they worry about that before any assignment. I want to bring just to enlighten you how this came about. So I hope our kids are being treated safely, who's overlooking our kids. Thank you.
I can have, should not ask honorable toast for that. With that, response, honorable, Emily Arvizo, Ms. Arvizo?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Toth, for that, for your comments. And yes, safety is a priority, especially here on Navajo and across the nation with our bureau operated within our schools and our organization. And I did receive that information about threats being made to our staff out there, and that has been communicated to the local administration over in St. Stephen's. So they are addressing the situation. And, what has happened is we've really had to put some structure into the school once the Bureau operated, took over the school, took back the school from tribally control. It was really establishing rules and regulations for students and then providing the structure. So there have been challenges, yes, and I'm sure that's what just students may be expressing, but expressing it in the way they have is not acceptable. So that is being addressed. But I also wanted to share that there have been some positive experience feedback from staff that have gone there, leaving hesitantly, but coming back saying, thank you. It was an opportunity that I would never, I would cherish, and because they saw two different sides of, the world, plus being a part of trying to bring structure and policies and rules and regulations to a school. They played a big part in that. But yes, we are concerned for the safety and well-being, and that has been communicated and is being addressed by the current administration. Associate Deputy Director Hanky Ortiz, because that school falls under her watch, as well as the education program administrator and the principal that is in that capacity. Thank you.
Thank you for the response, Ms. Arvizo. Are there any other questions, concerns from committee members, HEHSC committee members?
Mr. Toth, again, Chair.
Follow-up question, Honorable George Toth.
Okay, thank you, Madam, for responding in that fashion. We just want an update every now and then, make sure our kids are safe. And we need to protect our kids, no matter where they're at. So also, I hope we're not hurting our kids out here, because without a teacher, and we really need our teachers out here too also. And because kids will be, it's almost graduation. So I would request for an update every now and then to the office of president or to the speaker of Navajo Nation, so we can sleep well and inform the family. Because right now there are concerns and the safety of our kids out there. Thank you.
I can have Honorable Toth just not ask for that follow-up. Committee members, are there any other questions, concerns? Going once, going twice.
Chair.
Honorable
Yanito.
Yanito, the floor is yours.
Yes. Chair, now Kodot, Emily Arvizo Kodot need to record in lagi. I have a concern about the St. Stephen Indian School on the Wind River Reservation in Wyoming. I received some disturbing emails from that area as far as employment. I'm thinking that why is the BIE lacking like a Arapaho tribe employment? that's the higher audit, or how come you guys are using the Navajo from here, transferring to that school over there? Because our employees are not comfortable being up there. They've been accused of a lot of things, as like as far as being Navajo tribe. You know, they don't have respect for our teachers from here. Halit Elan Soibansas case of Wagi Halit Aliyabula, you know, to protect our citizens that's employed there as teachers. Halit Anad Misla, I kind of missed your Zoom report here earlier, Jason. I have questions, and I hear that, you know, there's a principal and some associate staff that are abusing alcohol and marijuana drugs. You know, there's some kind of a crime within the school systems going on up there. What are you guys doing about that? Yeah.
Thank you, Shekna. Honorable Unita. With that, the response on Ms. Arvizo.
Thank you, Chair. So responding to that, as I had explained earlier on, and that might have been the part you missed, that St. Stephen's Indian School was a tribally controlled school. And right prior to the opening of the school year 22-23, the tribe retroceded their school back to the Bureau of Indian Education. So this created an emergency situation of hiring federal employees to support the school, to be hired for those positions that were all vacated once that tribe retroceded back to the Bureau of Indian Education. It was like starting all over. So there was not enough time to hire and, you know, establish the announcements, hiring, and even so, if they did, there wasn't enough response because, you know, we're having a hard time filling positions across the nation in all our schools. So this is only temporary, and we hope that it's temporary this school year only, and that the school is going to be able to establish themselves so that they may stand alone. I don't have any information about, you know, their tribe or the quality, the education, or why they're not able to hire. But as a Bureau education facility and as a Bureau of Indian Education organization, we are there to help each other across the board. So it's just not Navajo that is sending staff to St. Stephen's Indian School. We've sent 15 and staggered throughout the year, a total of 15 staff members. 6 of those, well, actually 15 from our schools, and 6 of those,
Ms. Arvizo, we lost the audio from you.
sorry, I think I lost connection for a bit.
Yeah. We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this is the situation we're facing right now. And the school is going to come to a close for the school year in May, early part of June. So all staff will be reporting. Currently, the district does have 2 staff members that are at St. Stephen's, and I believe from our schools, I believe we have two from the Bureau operated schools that are still in detail up there. But any concerns that are happening up there are addressed by the administration on site, as well as the associate deputy director that school falls under, and that is Hank Ortiz. So we are constantly in communication and providing as much support and guidance to the school as we can. So the comments that you shared, there are comments that I have not received at this level, nor have our education program administrators. And we do have, you know, a chain of command that our communication that we would like for our staff to follow. We do understand that there's problems arise, but and if they address them within the VI supervisors, then, you know, we can address those situations. But if they do, you know, not raising the issues through the correct forms established for the purpose, mean that the person, in this case, who receives the matter may not have the authority to resolve or will be unfamiliar with the policies, procedures, or the situations resulting in dissatisfaction. So I hope that what I provided today provides clarity to the situation we are in, and we're here to answer any other questions you may have, and we definitely can provide an update as to the amount of staff that may be detailed up there, but I don't believe we have any new details underway at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arvizo, for that response. In regards to Honorable Curtis Unito, committee members, are there any other questions, concerns regarding this presentation? I know that we, as HEHSC, we had scheduled a meeting with Ms. Arvizo, but there were several committee members that were unavailable to join us at your office, so we had to cancel that meeting. But I still am interested in meeting with you, and we'll find a time and a date to come to your office as the oversight committee members to meet with you. And I hope we don't have to reschedule that meeting again, but we'll just continue to exchange contact information of when we're available to meet at your office, Ms. Arvizo. And at
Thank
that
you.
time,
Yes.
we'll probably have more questions as well that we can address at that time at your office.
Okay,
So with
thank you.
that,
Yes, we're definitely open to a meet and greet. Thank you.
okay, Ms. Arvizo. Committee members, with that, are there any other questions regarding the presentation? I do have a motion made by Honorable George Toth and then second by Honorable Helena Nesbitt. Going once, going twice.
Chair, Unito.
Okay, Honorable Unito, follow-up question?
Oh, yeah, no, Emily Arvizo. I know that you're trying your best to straighten a lot of issues out here on that, but you know, I'm really worried about our employees up there in Wyoming, and then at the same time too, those kids up there, Arapaho tribes. You know, anytime there's kids out there, I'm always worried about all the kids out there. I always think as them as my kids, and I always thinking as them as the same too. So if you can really address those issues up there that I question you about, that'll be really helpful. I'll be thanking you for that. Be part of the European United States that covers the BIE should be addressing these kind of concerns. I really recommend that you really help these individuals out there. Equate yate na nesa kano de siya.
Yeah, Don should not for that recommendation. With that, Ms. Arvizo, response?
Yes, I certainly will share your concerns with the principal and EPA of St. Stephen's Indian School, as well as the Associate Deputy Director. But if I may request, you write the specifics in writing to me and send it to my email. That way I have it specific as to what comments and you have received so that we can address those immediately. But I do know that any other concerns as such are being addressed as we speak. Thank you.
Chair, Mr. Toth.
I can add down for the response, Ms. Arvizo. With that, should not ask Honorable Don Toth.
Again, thank you, Chair. Ms. Arvizo. If it wasn't for this body, because a lot of times we have a concern and issue with BIE, your office. It takes time for you to take action. Sometimes you don't take action because I've been with the school board and a lot of concern that was sent to your office. And that's where my concern is. It wasn't brought to my attention. It wouldn't be discussed. You probably wouldn't even check on them. So the staff are afraid that retaliation or, you know, that's the reason why they come to us, especially the parents. So I hope that you follow our, you know, our concern and take care of it and make sure that you do not, even we'll send you the information to you, but we don't want you to discipline our staff because your staff, if it wasn't for them, you know, we wouldn't have education. Just remember that we would like for, you know, to cooperate with us. And that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah, Don should not ask Honorable Toth for those comments. Though not Ms. Benali or Ms. Thompson, if you can forward that written information over to Ms. Arvizo through email, and then you can CC all the HEHSC committee members of what the committee members have brought up. So it's all detailed out.
Chair, this is Delegate Mayor.
Chair? Chair? If
I don't, you guys all spoke at the same time, so I don't know who's who.
Chair, if I may respond, this is Ms. Arvizo.
Okay,
Just a comment.
all right, and then who was the, hold on, Ms. Arvizo, who was the other one that stated chair?
Delegate Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Arvizo, let me go to Honorable Helena Nez-Begay first, and then we'll come back to you, Ms. Arvizo. Shade, Honorable Helena Nez-Begay, the floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. It just makes me wonder why, you know, if this was kind of like an emergency and it was brought to our attention like this, that, you know, this wasn't really taken seriously. You know, it should have been whoever that heads all this BIE should have traveled out there. The one should not talk to the other kids or then, you know, that way you know what's going on, and then you don't you know, to iron all this out, you know, it should have been handled in a way to where, you know, you think you have to think about the safety of the people, our people from here on. When you go out somewhere to a new location, some people do have, you know, that discrimination and all that. So, you know, and maybe in the future, something else arises like this, it should be really taken seriously and, take an effort of attending, to go out there to check on the people and, that's just my comment, okay, thank you.
Yeah, done. Shada Honorable Helena Nesbigay. With that response, Ms. Arvizo.
Thank you. So with our organization, supervisors and managers are expected to listen and to address concerns which are appropriately raised. And if the issue is something outside of his or her purview, to submit the concern to the person having the capacity to address the matter or to advise the employee of procedures available or to be followed. I do not perceive disagreements or concerns as something for us to fear, but an opportunity for us to use our problem-solving skills and to find solutions which work for our organization and our children and the communities that we serve. And as such, I expect our supervisors and managers will accept responsibility if they have made a mistake and work to resolve the matter in an appropriate and equitable manner, consistent with rules, regulations, policies, and procedures that governs our behavior. So retaliation, reprisal from a supervisor or manager are inconsistent with our obligations and our stated goals. So this is our operation here. I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you for the response, Ms. Arvizo, and then I will work with staff to provide that email, the written document that you requested for to you, and then we'll, like I stated earlier, we'll go ahead and schedule another meeting to have at your department with the whole committee members. Any other questions, committee members? Going once, going two times. We do have a motion that was made by Honorable George Toth and then second made by Honorable Helena Nesbigay. With that, I will go ahead and move on to roll call vote. With that, Honorable Helena Nesbigay,
I vote green.
Honorable George Toth,
I will agree.
Honorable Curtis Yanito,
I vote green.
With that, we do have Dr. Nez excused and Vice Chair Jermaine Simonson excused. So with that, we do have 3 in favor, 2 not voting, and Chair not voting. And that does complete your presentation, Ms. Arvizo. Thank you for joining us and providing the information, and then also providing your response to the HEHSC committee members. You are hereby excused from the HEHSC committee meeting. With that, moving on to our next item, our next presenter, which is moving on to the next item, which is item B, presenting on Stop Inhaler program to schools on the Navajo Nation. Our presenter will be Peter Nez. Mr. Nez, are you on the call? Mr. Nez? Second call. Stop Inhaler program, Mr.
I'm
Peter.
on the call. Yeah,
Thank you very much for being on the call. With that, you are hereby before the 25th Navajo Nation Council HEHSC committee meeting, and I will provide you 20 minutes to provide your presentation. At the end of your presentation, if you do need additional time, I will ask my colleagues, the committee members, if we can provide you additional 5 minutes. And if you have not emailed your presentation, if you can email that to our legislative advisor staff, Ms. Benali or Ms. Thompson, if you can email those information out to us, if you have it done, so that will be very helpful. With that, your 20 minutes begins now. Mr. Nance, thank you.
Committee members, Chairperson James, Mr. Tanikido, Ms. McGay, Ms. Simonson, Adam is total, Ado, National Attorney from the Utah, Ado, Curtis Yeto, and Hido, Yat in Hiddish, Peniki, Quaki, Quaki, Hadahos, Agate, or by Hitanits and do, Dashin Shito, Edo, Beshit, what nation to a other Shimpa holds the. We go ahead and open that share line for them. Of course, Toshin Adel, Kushi, Zed in the Edo, Kake Ayan Hani. Ado quiz can share just an instance, how they say, just an instance, what's on the Bashish chain, Sanjikin, a national tash tree, the shit. The Kodo, Quaget, 18 holia, Ado Sebida Gredota. Ado Kojo yad wets alpha card holgedo tihaska holgedo ado hashike ko ati ko the ake hashte ko sabe ya be down this ado do yonst do ado onal anhano ya shinan shishin ko di kwaige shinan shiki benachi ya di kwaige so the neta di heki ya sa ande Nanish AI, and they Shadazos Bao A, Bastadash, Shiko, Astana, a co A, what I Shinanish, a Koti Quage, a Binyan Kitaton, Nikage, A, Yati Quage, a Chine, do no safety, cause Strandole, Strand, the Beda, Hagi, Quage. Ayoldo in Benchida, Bedahoti, Egi, Joe, what are Nishan, Bahosen or what are Nishanishidale, or Quake, what are Nishanishidalia. A co tower has added Tadikai. Dick or the Tonanis, there's a whole gated or in Ledo, Quake, Sahot, so Quake, Nishidalia, the China, it's not an initiative, but it's like a quite ultra as Angido, quite a speak a destiny, a quite a joy, quite a on net area, the area, Yan Yada Bada, Yana and Shindo Adan, San Edo's Twitter that a coachda or a what area, Bananista area, Banada area, the see the area, contra the car, a con the HOA area. Azel in the Hayes, Chin leader, and the Chin Oyo Hashita, to Chota del Cos, to Ishim now, what I don't know. The 2015 had a Nanish area, what our bear hose in Chin bear hose in Ebinachi, Arnold, so Hadatilia, Ibnash Ebits or Toast, Ishan Hashit, our Chin, what I don't know. According to the influence area na so speed match area house ni ke area say match area area bekeda hoilia MOUs the resolutions that our school board the not so they deal Tuba City Unified School District, One Rock Unified School District, or Chinga Unified School District. Is in a touch ado zel influence anchido achido ado na so hanada delia MOUs the board was called Hadalia, the what I've known, Bahasano, Dalia. The Condita has Anke, Quake, Chimle, or the Edo, Kojo, autonomous, the door, Quake, Joe, Ado, Quake, Sahot Sogi, Joe, what Ishat no, the Quake, According so the Naki, HOA, D. Quaggin, Yoldo, and A. Quaggy as a has Amico A. Quayeda and Nico. D. Kun A. Night Kiriban, see Kaido, Hate Adado, Naal Kata, Ado, Apita, what are A. Than his car, the A. What are A. Hadan his seed or the. Late a chino what I don't know, Yata Benesto, Ashim Pito, Shinda, Sitan, Sita, Kiss, or that Bindan Shiki, the whole Inigin, Nachi, Aya, what are Aya, Nishita has Eben Nachina, Nashia, Nasatelia, a Conan Shan, Geno Etatia, ko down o da ol ka down ya o yi go ya de ya train in da ya ado apia hun sin ke ta da da has ti gi ye ni ka che ko o yi de ne ka che go to city tournament is the community advisory council or you about 25 dollars which o yi di ka ke chiniki na che ko chinaba ho ziniki bin na che ya o you chinaba abita di ibn na ya ishan khait ada ka di chahdi ka ke has an ke la ya khait ada shinda an hit order khait ada ke cheda ho di nita di to queen so da ya ka ke the nepin da shield in legido a honana tsa ko ada ya ze has an chido to chuni ka je o ti ka ke has an ke chini ke test ke aba ze ha an hol aje ado amado je a ka ke khalet a ya ka ke chini ho da a onil khalet a ni ke da has the joke ka ke to na ete kiri ke ko ta o yi ka je to na to a honana le 25 do you which o ko ni ki na amado je ado masando achida that ado a hat khati je na hol a khalet a an hin ke ze da tsikit ada zu chung on da so hot na so sta da be khata hi ne to de ne bich is chanen de na hot ya na ne shitelia ko di ko den ze in de bich na has an ge a ne ze in ya o khayi den ne da des in edo jo ka ke has an ge to o yib da shi fin shiko edo ne kha ge ne chitish asen so ko ot an han ne ge ado ben yen khani ka ge to ya di ze ya khait ada ya chinna da pas la da ya a os ka ge ya to banan o ka ke ya to kha test da ado to na ol ka na yisita do ado ya to ya keden den da chok ta in sa ke set so le nasko ad hot an si ke le na neznana khado na dina khado le na 100 years good at it and to ya I get it and the lena so so khosi get china ho chi ti da do chi da jo e ba ya del ti ko ka ke hot a so ni ti de sha ado ko de zel ene ko den kha has kaido ta bu on hit ya na so sta ni hit honare do clinical Angelita if you can provide a share screen for Dr. Bender and Dr. Glenn Gerald Ashley my team igi ko den Dr. Henderson the do na khali na petition da that I want to go ahead and give the floor to Dr. Bender.
Thank you, Peter, and I'm deeply grateful to all of you for allowing us some time today to talk about the Stock Inhaler program. Let me say we don't need the slides. In respect for your time, I will summarize as succinctly as I can why we're doing what we're doing. And I want to explain that I'm a professor of pediatrics from National Jewish Health and the University of Colorado in Denver. And we have this outstanding team, includes Peter Nez, Elvira Begay, Buffy Tso, and a group of physicians from Denver and from the University of Arizona who've been working on this program called the Community Asthma Program, starting in 2016. The overall goal being to improve the lives of children with asthma living on Navajo Nation. We know that more children on Navajo Nation have asthma than in the general population across the United States. So we started these discussions back in 2016. We met with healthcare providers, health boards, school boards, Department of Health, Office of the President and Vice President, and ultimately submitted this project to the Navajo Nation Human Research Review Board for their approval. And they've given that approval again each year. The Community Asthma Program overall has two major components. One is we train healthcare providers how to follow the best current evidence-based medicine to take care of kids with asthma. And the other part is working with schools. So we've helped schools bring in the Open Airways program. The Open Airways program was created by the American Lung Association to teach kids and school staff about asthma. We find that the more people understand asthma, the more they can be helpful to these children and their families. A part of the school program has been working on the stock inhaler program. In short, it allows schools to keep a medication, a safe medication, albuterol, in school, so that if kids have an asthma attack, a sudden worsening of asthma symptoms, they can take that medication in school and in most cases, go right back to class and continue learning rather than go home or in some cases to have to go to the emergency room. So that's our goal with the stock inhaler program. There are 15 states now that have passed legislation that embrace this and allow it to happen. One of the states is Arizona, but also New Mexico and Utah. So we're kind of surrounded by states that have passed that legislation. And technically, state schools on Navajo Nation can follow that legislation, but not BIE schools, not boarding schools. It's pretty clear to us there needs to be policy in place on Navajo Nation in order to let this happen. Additionally, healthcare providers sometimes express a concern if I write a prescription to allow that medication to happen in school, am I endangering my license in any way? Am I outside the boundaries of what's permitted? Could I be sued? So that legislation also indemnifies their Good Samaritan efforts to provide stock inhalers in schools. The stock inhaler medication then is provided by the medical center. There are disposable mouthpieces. So if one child needs to use it, they use that mouthpiece and then that's thrown away, so that if another child needs to use it, they have a new mouthpiece. And also there's a prescription written that's in place that's part of the documentation of this program. Across Arizona, with that in place, there have been fewer kids that need to leave school for emergency care. And importantly, more kids who can stay in school and learn. They don't miss school, they continue to participate. And it's been primarily, I think entirely an upside. There's not been any downside. There's not been any problems that we've heard of. The state of Arizona has a really good law. That is, it's well written, and we can provide that as a model of legislation that might be passed. And as I think Peter explained, we've had a lot of meetings in the last 3 years, including 3 years ago with Health Education Human Services, with the Department of Health, Dr. Jill Jim, Office of the President and Vice President, just explaining what this is about and how this program might help. So we're coming back to you to explain this and to ask for your help to consider at least moving this forward as a matter of policy on Navajo Nation. I'm going to stop there. That's my brief summary. We are very happy to take any questions.
Mr. Nez, thank you for the presentation. Does that complete your presentation?
After so kata sa sabinanish open at your own sa KCG shinata.
Hakwashina ad.
Akoti kwake ba niyan binyan khani khaki cho ya kwake khaz anki ya cho khalet na so ya na hat ya khait ada kwake na hat ando constitutionally ko I say ya ti kwake ya ba join le khait ada na so ti kwake khait ada na so spahat ya da ya at cho queen so da ya what and see case so it nabji cho in it echo kui go shin ya tene not I bedan ni kai the Department of the Education do the boss at na ki the mo ya dan idan the boss do idan but now see next the kwai ge has ange so chini bi test injury sending dan jo hoti ni le ado an ki so doesn't because kwaki has anke do dan da quiz kan ya dan do na so nabchi dishla kono na ete kidiki ya dish khaki ya khaki ya khaki la has ga na so na do khaki la e na sada shi jiao e khaki da zi sada zi bi do zi ado sa hot a da zi ha de do ni di khaki jo e hot a ibn ai di ki zi khaki e ya sa hona ni di has be has ani kola di khaki la e ya khit ada ba hazno la e to e na so e ya khit ada di khit ada e ya khodo na bi el ti oda e ya khit ada e ya ni kilchida do a kon hido shido a hot abn yet khat sha ni na idish kido khila e ai sibna bna hat ado khila e ai sibo hot lin soda ko e khage hot a ni kilchida inil ko e na o khage ab na chi bin na chi ko ani di a khode has an ki e ya de na pa yat ki do de na pa pan ata ki e ya hot a e ya hot a ishnan shi ibna di khodo ne ne je khait ada e khage ilchine al khage e ya khait ada e shi a pitan ki kan do ta so ta e ya na ani na dan glido le fin so ta e ta ban sas ke ko a he di je ya hot an ki dan ne khodo khait ada ni kha do je khait ada khila bit chnada etil in so da hot an sas ke stitch ko le zel in has and do a do na a e ya chu kha ke e ya khalit a e kha ke na so khatel ya da pa ko a e a bit e do yan a ko a e ze ta e ya ko chu e ya kha ke chino pasal da de do le and di kha ke Navajo Nation ki de ni ke chu ko a e ya o yi go e ya ni ke has to e a de kwi a de tha ba yashti ge to a e ba yashti dan de and en archindi di khade nabi kayam kai keda hat enigi jo e hot a ba banalans ko di hot a ya shanan hidnish ni to mit ada na de kitchen to e do kai ge be ni ka do cha ko be ka di cha to ne je da khait ada di kai ge chin ba e da hodi ni to ne je na sa ni ka to le ko sha
Mr. Nez, does that complete your presentation?
oh
Hakwashina ton kodon hitnahasins let's link adod nana ashi be not so do be not anit a hina nation lini os eko the stock inhaler program but that nini ki eko did o present in la ko ado kodo achit aho that ya not so spe da na hadit ahe do not so spe do kd ki do benya quite get so san le ko o on hitche hodo asto kodo nanish os eniki ja quite get ben yes le ko. This is a presentation that you're providing to the oversight committee. There's no actual action item. It's not under the action item, nor is there a legislation in place regarding the stock inhaler program. Is this a presentation to the oversight committee? So I want to, with that being said, I'd like to thank you to you and your team for providing that information to the oversight committee. We will look forward to your email regarding the program that you've indicated and that you presented to us here at the oversight committee. And then you also have our contact information. If you have any other questions to email us. You do also have our legislative advisor, Ms. Benali's, and Ms. Thompson's contact information as well. Don't hinan shadal inigi don khalchin and lini do old couple has anje bisnat nashiki. So with that, do we have a motion in a second, committee members?
Motion. Yes.
Motion made by Honorable Helena Nesbitt.
Second, Sir Henry.
Second made by Honorable George Toth. Committee members, any questions, comments?
There, ask questions.
Honorable Toth.
Thank you for your presentation. My understanding, what you're trying to do is provide medicine for for all the school. I just wanted to know if there's such a plan for the county school. Also, EIE school. Are you trying to say you want a legislation so this can be in place, agreement between these schools? So those are the concerns that I had. I guess you're trying to help the students. Yes, we have some kids in these schools that have problems with that asthma, especially at home. So if possible, if this medicine can be given to the parents, because most of the time, our elderly is the one that takes care of these kids, especially lower level grades. I guess what you're saying is you want a direction how to provide that agreement between the school with us. Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Honorable Toth, with that response, Mr. Ness.
Peter, did you have a response?
Bruce, can I go ahead and have you address this?
Yes, certainly. So you're quite correct in your summation. It's to be able to have this medicine at school, so when kids start to have trouble with their asthma, they can take this treatment very quickly and go back to class feeling well. We quite agree that it's also important for families, parents, elders to have the right medicine and to know what to do. And as part of this overall community asthma program, we've really worked to increase communication between schools and healthcare providers. So if schools see that a child is struggling with their asthma, the message goes back to the parent. Be sure to follow up with your healthcare provider. They're ready to do that. And there's something called a Navajo Asthma Action Plan we've developed, which is a written document. So the provider can fill it out, use it to help educate families. That can also go back to the school. So it's a back and forth communication to make sure not only the right medicine is available at school, but so parents and grandparents have the same medicine at home. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Good. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much for the response, sir. Thank you very much again. Any other questions, comments, committee members?
Honorable,
No, I have the same question you already asked.
Honorable Yanito?
yes. Have the floor.
This is not us.
Oh, yeah, I think Peter Nez could on Zulon his husband on question had with the ink. And who's the other person? Was it Ruben? Are you with the National Jewish Health?
Yeah, Bruce Bender, and yes, I am.
Okay, Bruce Sanders. Thank you for your information and all that. And I always thought about people with asthma across the nation. I don't know when ago that I taught in Rock Point and Round Rock to elementary from a young kids over there, and I asked them why they were all happy and so forth, and you know they were really interactive and they were really involved with their education. And then I just wondered, you know, what they eat or you know what they go by to get all that energy. And then I asked them, I said, you guys are all healthy and so forth, and when one of you gets sick, where do you guys go to get help? I asked them. And then they all said, medicine man. They go like that. That was a really good reaction. I always compared those kids with these public schools, away from the reservation, because I'm right at the border of Arizona and Utah, and I live by the San Juan River. And on the north side is a public school, the Lacanas. I guess those are your relatives, Bruce. But anyhow, I just want to ask a question. Do you guys study from how many kids are affected by asthma here on Navajo Nation and within the 4 states here, and comparing it to the public sector? You guys ever did a study on it, and what percentage that you guys came up with? And, because of that, I always think about the medicine man, what those kids respond to, is that in our custom here and tradition, there's a short of breath and there's sadness that causes these asthma to, I don't know if I'm correct, but I guess I have a question on how does the asthma start? That'll be, I guess, my second question. But in our tradition, these medicine men, they perform rituals on whoever has the sadness, because a lot of times the patient will lose their concentration on breathing. They'll be concentrating on something sadness, like passing of their relatives or their loved ones. Because of that, they let their breathing, they forget themselves, and so that causes, I think, like a weakness of muscle to the breathing, your lungs or something like that. And I always think about that. And once I became a committee to the HEHSC committee, I started seeing a lot of this kind of same symptoms that everybody expressing through the social service and veterans and EMTs, police, and now education. And every time when you go to a doctor, sometime, they'll ask themselves, where does this symptom comes from? And then they'll always say, it goes through the genes. It comes from the genes. That's what the doctor will tell you. But they don't really tell you where the genes has been identified by these illness. So I see people carry some of those inhalers. I don't know if I'm correct about this, is those breathing inhalers that sometimes I'm thinking, I wonder if these guys ever go see a medicine man or not. And then in the study, I always wondered, public sector again, these public parents and kids, I wondered if they get treatment by like medicine men, or do they have a belief in Christianity or whatever you call those things? Because I'm always thinking about mixed society, because everybody has different beliefs. We have all kinds of beliefs here on the nation, and that's where I kind of have questions on it. How, or through your studies that did, have some kind of study with a relief study, religion relief study. I'm thinking, if there's a way that you guys can communicate with the Medicine Men Association, I think you can resolve a lot of these issues. And I'd like to see your proposal as well. That'll be my questions and my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your questions. I can answer the first one pretty straightforward. We know that about 17,
Excuse me, Bruce.
yes,
I understand, we have committee rules. So please, respect our committee rules and wait to, be called on to have a response.
my apologies.
With that, thank you, Honorable, Curtis Unito, for those, comments. I know it's gonna require a lengthy, discussion. And again, we also received wording that, they are planning on wanting to have a, sponsor to drop legislation. So these are some of the things, that you would, question, during your meeting with your agent if you're thinking about, sponsoring the legislation. You find this kind of, information, and that's how you move forward with, being a sponsor of the legislation. So just wanted to, bring that, to your attention, Honorable Unito. And then with that, I will go ahead and give the floor back over, to, since on the agenda, it does have, Mr. Peter Nez as the presenter, and that's how the agenda was, adopted. And then from there, Mr. Nez can make that request to have, Mr. Bruce to respond back. So with that, for a response, Mr. Nez, back to,
Yeah.
Honorable Unito's questions. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, not ado quite identity Mr. Yaito. Ado quite Dr. Bender Banad and being Nikitna has neko. Juno aya sad aya kun aya naide kiriko here. Snata. Bruce, you can
So-
go ahead and now.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll answer the first question. About 17% of children on Navajo Nation are identified to have asthma. That compares to 10% of children across the United States. So it's an increased number, which is really why we came in and started discussions about addressing this. As you can tell, I represent Western medicine. From the beginning, Peter Nez has explained to me the importance of the medicine man, the traditional healer. We have a healer on each of our 3 community advisory committees. And Peter, I think you can probably say more about your outreach to the medicine man organizations and our attempts to work side by side with them.
Snata, Mr. Chair James, if you allow me.
Oh, I'll be, you have the floor,
Okay.
Mr. Nez.
Oh, Mr. Yaito, kind identity, Anishi, Chinhat Adon, citizen that Agish, Ashtohit, Ada, Ashtok, a bit on the aya, quite a and Dietekido, Nachida aya, Ko a not so the Ebnach aya, harder than a Kodi Ani, quite an identity, quite a Anishin, see Kasido, Anishin, do quite that a ado the neck quite cho Niki, Jo a quite a zel implants on AI down what in had over, but had the hotet a co Aden or a zel indo as in the Kaki AI do quite a zel medicine man that a get your egg yes plan had echo hit other a tapanet on question other don't hit yana a share hit other that a quite that shani what our chin the aya hence other high city that the Hido a and hit need it did know that Zebin Hagato, Yeta Hikagi, ABDN. The organization, you get Edo AI adoption, you need I adoption intelligence. Ado Kojodo, the Nahatali Association. To Aden or not Adan Lenido as a bit as it in. To there Ato Apip in Haraki, Nachida, a quite never called a ani. Quite a Nishiki Abahazano, a to a Aden. 또 총이 어떻게 하게 에야 the days eat na hadle ko ne sila an shike hot a ben days ne shiko quiz kandya da ko age ka ashigodo ande ha le to hon di ko age wa has again de be ni chwe na hot e haita wa de chwe hodo ne tigita ko age da to fa ne to do ya at no da hot ya din side jin ko ne hui jin ha no chi chwe ni ite kirigi bin na ko di dal so si handa hines de ekip nachita to ka ke hot to ye ha zen to ka ke ti ka ke nal so tra das so hot ko ye nal so se khada de lia to hot na hanne ko na hanne ke ai sen hinan shidel ko hot in hilchidish asen so ko a
Thank you for the response. Gentlemen, thank you very much for responding to Honorable Curtis Yanito. Committee members, are there any other questions, comments? Going once, going twice, 3 times. I'll go ahead and call for the roll call vote with the report that was provided to us. Motion was made by Honorable Helena Nesbitt-Gay and second by Honorable George Toth. With that, Honorable Helena Nesbitt-Gay.
I vote green.
Honorable George Toth. Honorable George Toth. How do you vote?
Temporarily left the room.
Okay. Honorable Curtis Yanito. How do you vote, Honorable?
I vote green.
Okay.
I vote green.
Thank you. And then we do have Honorable Dr. Andy Nez excused. And we also have Vice Chair Jermaine Simon as excused. Honorable George Toth, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. With that, we do have 3 members in favor, 2 excused, and Chair not voting. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Nez and Mr. Bruce, for providing that presentation to the HEHSC committee. And we'll continue to work together and communicate with each other. Again, thank you, and you are hereby excused from the HEHSC committee meeting for today. Thank you. With that, with that, moving on to the next item, which is item number 6, old business. There is none. Next item, item number 7, new business. We do have item A, legislation number 0046-23. We do have Delegate James present, and then we also have the appointment, Ms. Debbie Nez Manuel present. With that, I'd like to give the floor to Honorable George Toth to chair this meeting while I present my legislation 0042-23. Honorable George Toth.
Thank you, Chair. Go ahead and assist you. At this time, we'll have this legislation written to the record, and then I need a motion and second. And then there'll be time to all presenter. You start.
Yes, thank you, Chair Pro Tem, Delegate George Toth. You have your proposed nomination council resolution, 25th nomination council for year 2023, introduced by Council Delegate Vince James as primary sponsor. Tracking number is 0042-23. An action relating to health education and human services committee, nominated committee, and the nomination council. Confirming the appointment of Debbie Nez Manuel as the executive director of the Division of Human Resources. The legislation has been introduced into the 5-day comment period and has finished the comment period. Also attached to the legislation is Exhibit A, which is a letter of interest from for the Division of Human Resource Director by Ms. Debbie Nez Manuel. And also a response from the President, Drew Nygren, to Ms. Debbie Manuel. The letter is dated January 10, 2023, and it's indicated that they are offering the opportunity for the appointment. Also attached is Ms. Manuel's vita or resume, indicating her experience in education. Also attached is a letter, the transmittal letter from the Office of Legislative Counsel to the primary sponsor. And the legislation was posted for public comment on March 20th, 2023. And there was one comment that was received, and it was a supporting comment, and the comment is attached. There were no opposing comments received or comments or recommendations. And the public comment period completed the process March 28, 2023 at 10:19 a.m. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion and then second motion. Okay, motion by Helena, Honorable Helena Nas Begay. Second, John.
Second. So,
Oh, good, sir. Honorable Curtis Ishi. Could always second. Okay, this time, Chair. Sponsor, we have 20 minutes.
Thank you for that, Pro Temp Chair Ado Kodobe Teno Ajiki, Sate Halina Nesbiki, she had the Honorable Curtis Yanito, Kodot Eya Nache Eya Executive Director, Human Resources, Anje Eya Ecuador Shaman Denigi, Miss Debbie Nez Manuel, Eya Ecuador Non-Shinglini Bahisin, Ako Lange the Satahiki, President Nigrin, Ado Vice President Mentoya Without Ajibikadini, Ako Ado Koji has Non-Shinglini has Anje, Ako Ya what Abba Hazotlo, Big Ehudini, Oko Kodobe has Ani Bakat, Oko Eya Sabe Danahudit, I Sabe Doki, not so be Doki, Lini, Eya Bani, so Strokat Ibe has Ani Behadet Eko, Ben Yed Eya Ecuador, Nihidato, Nil Sos do Lako, the Ecuador legislation number 0042-23 Eko, Ado Shin Kododam. Shamat Eya Bahuidish Loko Hodina Shin Hitch, Dahodolzi Lako Ado not sauce Linigi Kodo not sauce bedo KD do Vitahas Oko Nanish Yi Lado El Kate when out Eya Aje Hot not sauce Yahi Asilin Oko AED Hot Ashinan Shidishla Hot Art Kate when out the Baka John hit it not on Pa Ishtan Elias Lin Oko Adonana Ashi Beto, Kodona Beto, Kito Shito, Akota Hancho, Shin Jehodo, Art Leoko, Ado Beotra, Vinigi Tradit, Igi, Doko, Adonana Hotato, Ultraigi, Aginal Sos, Chiost, Egi, Akot Art, Kate Hona out, Ea, Hot Arnold Sos, Vinigi Behas, or Naha, Ilia, Ea, Podon, Hitaton, Need Sos, or Lako, Shinat Arnold Linigi, Podoshin, Ea Ishama. Debbie Nez Manuel Cordoba Huitish Atlako. With that, Miss Manuel.
I can't, thank you so much, Nala. Good afternoon, good afternoon to our delegates, to those that are on the line listening, to those who are working here today. I can't, it's Baba. She Sanjikinin, Satna, Chin, Sitna, Janita, She, Kapa, Dashinala, the Twadan, I use that now shop. Shalchine, Ta, Megan, Do, Hey, Do, Shandin, Danya. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a tribal member here from the Navajo Nation. I have grown up and was raised in Clarksville, Arizona, which is between Ganado and Sanders, and attended Ganado High School throughout my education and the elementary and secondary years. And really glad and honored to be here today. Thank you so much for sponsoring this legislation and supporting my efforts and helping and supporting Dr. Nygren and Vice President Montoya in this appointment. Some of the thoughts that come to mind as I come forward in this on confirmation hearing, you know, are really rooted in my upbringing, the teachings that I've been raised with, and the responsibility that I have to the people. So upon being asked to step up into this leadership role with the Division of Human Resources, it took a lot of thought in thinking about what is it that I'm going to be doing, what makes me qualified to do this work here with the Navajo Nation and with the Navajo Nation Council and the people in all of our communities that are throughout the nation, but also to include what about the people in the urban area, both in Phoenix and Albuquerque and Denver, and then our veterans who are serving in the military in all of our branches. This work that I do here has really helped me to recognize the value of and responsibility that goes with being appointed the Executive Human Resources Director. And I think the idea that as I go forward, I think about what is this also, where did this start? I think some of the really historical responsibilities that I've had in taking care of sheep and livestock and tending to some of the smallest animals we had at home, like chickens, some of those early teachings really helped me to realize how important our life is and what we do, and eventually becoming a mother, raising 3 beautiful daughters who contribute, so much today to our communities, especially among young Native youth. So I think about those times and how it prepared me for moving on into the role that I'm working in today. I think the other thing that I have to acknowledge too is that my education, achieving my education has been probably the greatest tool that I have, and I couldn't do this without my education. And I have to thank the Navajo Nation for that support. When I went through the higher education office, I was afforded scholarships and the support so that I could pay for dorm rooms, pay for books, tuition, and different things like that. And I often will run into our education staff and personnel, the leadership, and I tell them that I'm a poster child for you. And they're like, they ask me, what are you talking about? And I said, I wasn't supposed to be here. I was a statistic, because at a very early age, I lost my mother at the age of 3 to her being murdered and missing. And as time went on, I took these lessons of not having a supportive family to be able to work harder, to really strive for something that was really important to me. And as I began to raise my children, I realized that I have a lot of strength, I have a lot of courage, and I can keep going. So when I look at Dodie, I say, I'm your poster child, and they smile. But those early experiences in life helped root me into our communities. What are we doing for our children? What are we doing for our communities when it comes to safety? And those decisions helped me to connect to the work and profession of social work. And so in social work, we're taught so many different values about compassion, about professionalism, about integrity and character, and where do we go from here? And so these values really strengthen my ability to problem solve and figure out, how do we help victims when they're in a difficult situation? How do we help manage cases when people are in need of food and shelter and wellness, if that's mental health services or medical services? And through that process of learning, I really understood the human capacity, the biological, social, and emotional. And I think coming into this work, that has been extremely valuable. If I look back at the last, few years, the Navajo Nation and the world globally has been impacted by COVID, by the effects of COVID, death and tragedy, job loss. It's forced people to survive. And as we begin to go forward, I see that happening here on the Navajo Nation. When I look back at the data, there's over 80,000 people who tested positive on the Navajo Nation. Over 2,000 lives were lost to COVID. That means every single person in this room has been impacted by COVID in so many different ways. If it was our health, if it was our family members. And so these life experiences, they really impact the people we serve, the personnel that we're serving today. And when I think about this, there's a few different approaches that I have to consider. One is the Western approach, where I have to use my higher education, my college, my work experiences to really resolve these issues. But more traditionally, I recognize that Navajo Nation is different. It's unique. There is language, there is cultural, there is rich heritage. There's so many different types of protective factors that we have in our community. So as a human resources director, I really have to lead both ways. I look at our policies that are developed by Western concept, and then I look at traditionally, how do we protect our personnel? So, you know, in looking ahead, this approach and recognizing Western and traditional concepts really impact the 10 programs that I'm working with right now. So the 10 programs that I have are working really closely with our oversight committee in HEHSC, and then also in budget and finance committee. And then we also have the legislative portion of it as well. So in looking ahead, there's right now, when I see our 70 employees within our division, they impact the nation and all of the different divisions that are interconnected. And so I'd like to be able to answer and respond to your questions. But briefly, this is my background. This is what I have done in the past. And outside of working with Navajo Nation Council, I stay involved in communities. I care about our veterans, first and foremost. I care about our children. I focus a lot of advocacy supporting children. And I think within this role itself, I see children as being part of our succession plan. If we can work very closely with our young personnel and help them to develop into these roles, they become the leaders of our communities. And look forward to working with the wide range of age groups, all genders. I recognize that there's a lot of young people out there who identify within the LGBTQ community, recognize that they are just as important. And I think looking ahead is really understanding what Nygren and Montoya want to do for our Navajo Nation. So a lot of the values that they have, that they want to pursue, those are also the values that I work toward. So thank you so much. I'm glad to be here today, Shanola, for sponsoring this legislation, and thank you for all of the support that's coming from this room.
Hey, thank you. For your being for this time, I have a motion and a second. Any questions, concerns from the HEHSC committee? I forgot to ask that. I recognize Arnold Helena Ness. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, I think the behind Siegel and Jed and Cincy, yeah, going on the show now, talking like on the people, yeah, over care again, but it is not. I don't, you know, but our support of a mother is good, which is a big plus, you know, that you have the strength of a young woman to continue into life. That made you stronger, and they taught you a lot in life. So that's my thank you for and working for the Navajo Nation for like almost like maybe all together over 35 plus years. I've always been a challenge with human resources, hiring and JVA, although this the long process that it takes. Called AD, I know something can be done, you know, we need to just really streamline it to where we can shorten the process to where we can find the right way. When there was an opening, you know, they would always have a temporary person temporarily fill that position. I didn't go something like that. So, so like for me, if there was one of my driver at a senior center, my driver resigned and, then I had to step in to be a driver. But we could at least hire and within the community just to a temporary, you know, hire and fill that position. Let that person help out until the position is filled, or maybe even though that person might be temporary, maybe that can help them go into that position. You know, something like that, you know, without adjournment. And a lot of our staff, some of them and but they don't have the education for it. You know that they can do the job. You know that you see them do the job and all that, but education wise, they don't have it. So I don't know, and some, you know, back 20, 30, 40 years ago, they used to grandfather them in. But the thing is that they don't have that experience. The person might come in highly educated, but they don't know that, they don't have that experience. So what you can I've seen it happen, that's why I'm saying. So, you know, right there, you know, it's just that we can't just really say that we need somebody that with a disability and all that. But even though that happens, the person like for me, if I can come in and as a supervisor and my company tells me this is how you do it, this is the way you do it, and this is how it's supposed to be done. You know, we just have to give credit to this person too. It makes me think, why did they advertise this position when this person already knew all of this, what was going on? Which is that, you know, you know, we do kind of overstep that. So, so human resources are quite, although you probably going to get, you probably already, maybe already did that, and you get a lot of calls saying like, pay our employees. How are we going to pull in more revenues to increase the wages of our employees? You know, there's resources that we can look for outside the nation that maybe we can do a matching fund with, like a lot of our behavioral health, a lot of these people that come in, they have access, they have insurance. Maybe we can bill them, do some billing, and that way we can bring some money in for that department. So maybe that can, we're working on it. We're going to work on a project for dialytics. So, you know, we're trying to get some revenue for that program. And I'm thinking right now, maybe that's going to work for the Head Start too. So working with the state, you know, the DUS, and so on this case. See, you know, as where you're at, you know, you're probably going to start thinking about things like that. So, but I'm really proud of you, and I congratulate you on your need for this position. And And also HEHSC le HEHSC. Back to you, Pro Tem Chair.
Thank you, Madam, could she respond briefly for Ms. Manuel?
Oh.
So for.
Oh, I can't have Shema. I really appreciate that and those words, that encouragement. It really, it fuels me. I think when we look at our jobs and the personnel opportunities, there is a lot of opportunities. I've spent probably the last 80 something days reviewing where we're at, what are we doing, assessing, and kind of getting a pulse of all of our programs, particularly when it comes to a couple of programs in personnel management and then Office of the Background Investigation. There are times where we do have to look at how are we going to hire people when they have limited or no experience. We do that when we look at young adults, young children, young graduates, and we also I question how is that different for an adult, who comes in with little to no experiences. So I definitely, for me personally, I value mentoring. I value on the job training, and so workforce development is also another program that will provide some of those opportunities. When we think about grandfathering someone in, that is something, a practice that has been used. We can look at it and see how it has been applied in the past, and does it happen today is another question. And then what are the possibilities going forward? But again, I go back to mentoring. This succession plan is really important for the Navajo Nation. When I look around our division, we have a number of individuals who have been here for a long time. They carry that institutional knowledge that we need. So we need a balance between that institutional knowledge and those that are coming in so they can learn from each other. Those generations can come together and learn from one another. I think when we talk about grants, those grants are really important for going forward. And so I know that President has talked about the fact that we need to pursue grants. So that is at the forefront of what we need to do. And when we look at a Head Start, learning, I think one of the most valuable assets for Head Start is learning the language, so that as people grow into these personnel positions, they can also speak the language. My Yaj over here, George Tall said, you're here and you're speaking English. Oh, on me, I'm speaking English, but I'm learning. I'm excited. I set one of the challenges for myself this year is to learn more, and everybody talking to me in Navajo really, really helps me. So I'm excited about that. I think there's a question.
It's just the time you have to tell the committee that it's time for the presentation.
Okay. So thank you. That's a response to your question. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Committee members, Curtis, you have any questions, concerns?
A lot here, Chair Pro Tem. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, go ahead, you recognize to speak.
Oh, yeah, Debinez, for your appointment and for the legislation by Vince James. The Nabawin in the Banda and Soyo Nijon Doniniala later Bahins Adot Ane Adi nothing that a Dirikodo the Pena Ranigit Ane in the Childa. I didn't chill of Yaji Jah. I don't know mother thought of another unated so. Rather, you're not Tahota, and late in the Halil Key, and not in Ha. I don't lay my or you that it's just a regard and them my that an evening a lot of. So that any initiative in Nahalian is educated now. Yeah, human resources is it. that all I use how that's just hadlo. Oh, you this ever since I came into the council. I don't know na shande da little with Aiden. And I'm there's a lot of nepotism going on. I don't know that he needs. We all have to treat each other equally. And then other for
Honorable, Curtis, you need to, we're losing you. Can you find a better place?
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
All right.
Go ahead,
So in-
Mr. You need to.
Al-Qaeda instado nido in the hard she hinzado ninza ninza. That's really appreciative. Iba hinson. Kodona you have a responsibility to serve all these people across the Navajo Nation equally. Called, like wages, the sickness. There's a lot of complaints that's coming in from all departments that we face in education and veterans and health, the law and order, and there's a lot of stress out there that we encounter. That's a lot of responsibility that you're gonna face. So with that, I just want to commend that you stay positive, and I support you because you grew up with traditional values and continued learning your Navajo because that's your strong point. I just want to say a to you and for your appointment and for this legislation. I support it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your response. And then go back to the sponsor, correct?
Honorable Unito, I really appreciate that. I really truly believe that raising, even being there when during the lambing season or, sitting there with my grandfather has been one of probably the best teachings. I've got patience, when we're working with our personnel, understanding that those challenges are there. Anything that personnel are going through, any struggles are going through, I just don't think about their work. I think about their home. I think about their upbringing, maybe even their adolescence, their lives, what they went through. And then even the challenges they face in being an adult and being a grandparent. So a lot of those experiences as a child have taught me how to work with adults and to practice compassion when I'm working with them. And then also to help them, if that's to support them, if they want to grow and develop into or pursue a promotion or change jobs or decide on a career. Those are things that I for people, and I look forward to supporting our personnel within the Navajo Nation and any of the external opportunities that come to them. So thank you so much, HEHSC.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Just now ask Honorable James, do you have anything before I give the floor back to you? Mr. James, Honorable James, are you still with us?
Yeah, I had the honorable toast for that. Ado podot not in Hitchika or Zidon da dos Kitako. Akot out the Ecuador legislation 0042-23 ni hitaton so the Shukran Ash. That completes our presentation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion and second to approve. So let's go ahead and give the floor back to the recorder to do a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair. You have your roll call vote for legislation 0042-23. Motion by Delegate Helena Nesbitt and second by Delegate Curtis Benito. Delegate Helena Nesbitt, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Okay. Delegate Curtis Benito, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Delegate Curtis Benito. Thank you. And Delegate Vince Jennings, how do you vote?
Delegate Jan votes green.
Thank you. And Delegate Dr. Andy Nez is excused, and Delegate Chair Wayne Simonson is also excused. Mr. Chair Pro Tem, you have 3 members in favor of the legislation, 0 opposed, and the Chair Pro Tem not voting, and 2 members are excused.
Okay, we'll forward this to the next, I believe, Nicodia. All right, we have 3 in favor, opposed 0, and 2 abstention, 1 abstention, and 2 are excused. So, thank you. Okay. So, Chair, give you the floor back.
I can't have done. Thank you very much,
James.
committee members. Thank you. Shukran Ash, Honorable George Toth, you can go ahead and still move on to the next legislation. If you can be our pro temp chair for that as well.
No problem, sir. Go ahead, continue with this agenda. Next is legislation that's on your agenda. We'll have the advisor to read into this record. I believe Mr. James also is the co-sponsor, right, sir?
And also Honorable Helena Nesbitt is the co-sponsor as well.
Oh, okay. Is that legislation 45-23?
Yes.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, you have your proposed sanction council circuit year 2023 introduced by Delegate Eugenia South Newton as a prime sponsor and co-sponsored by Helena Nesbitt. Tracking number is 0045-23, an action relating to the Health Education and Human Services, Law and Order, Budget, Finance, and Nominating Committee, approving and authorizing the mutual aid intergovernmental agreement between the National Division of Public Safety, National Police Department, and the City of Page, Arizona. The legislation has it will go on to the next committee of the Law and Order Committee. Also attached is Exhibit A, the mutual aid agreement between the Navajo Nation and the City of Page. Exhibit B is the 154 review, with all departments having signed, reviewed, and signed. Also is the transmittal letter from the Office of Legislative Council to the sponsor. And the legislation has gone before public comment for 5 days, starting March. It's on March 29th, 2023, and the 5-day comment period ended April 3rd, 2023, and no comments were received. Mr. Chair, Pro Tem?
Okay, I need a motion on this legislation. Okay, Honorable Nez motion, second, John.
Delegate.
Okay. Honorable Yunito, second Ilala. So Korosi, they asked, if we, there's two ways, we can go ahead with no question, we can vote, or if we have comment, then we'll go down to, ask questions. But it asked, really,
Just vote. We can-
okay, requested by, Honorable Nez to go ahead and vote on it, since no other question. Ask about that, but no, objection, she don't let go.
I agree. I agree. Delegate
You
James. Sir.
agree, okay. Okay, thank you, sir. How about you, Chris? Is that okay? We'll go ahead and vote. Honorable Unito, are you in favor of go ahead and approve by vote?
Concur. Concur. Oh,
Yay, all right. Thank you. Let's go back to the advisor to do the roll call vote.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Pro Tem, thank you. It's a roll call vote for legislation 0045-23. Delegate Julian Fidel, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Delegate Curtis Unito, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Delegate Vince James, how do you vote?
Delegate Jan votes green.
Thank you. And you have your Chair Pro Tem not voting, also two delegates, Dr. Andy Nez and Delegate Jermaine Simonson, who are excused. Mr. Chair, it's a vote of 3-0-3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, 3 in favor, 0 and 1 abstention to exclude. So the legislation passed will go to Medicare committee. All right, Koroshi Ehai Tahas Ananana British.
Aquashina, thank you very much, Honorable Totes, for chairing, pro-temping the meeting. With that, we did complete the new business item. So with that, moving on to the next item, which is item number 8, close of meeting. Before we do that announcement, do we have any announcement, committee members? The only announcements that I have is our next meeting will be a special meeting, which would be Friday, April 7th, 2023. And then also our requested Washington, D.C. travel, which will be from April 8th through April 16th for the TIPIC meetings out there in Washington, D.C. Those are my only, and then of course the Now Nation Spring Council session, which is April 17th through April 21, 2023. So which is also on the agenda. So with that, those are my only announcements. If there's no other announcements from committee members, going once. Any announcement? Okay, Honorable Toth, this is not us.
I just wanted to know the status on the concern that I brought before this committee. Advisor is supposed to contact the executive branch. I just wanted to know. Just keep that. Other than that, that's all I have, sir. Probably next time we can also write a letter to the executive branch. My concern about the director that I mentioned earlier. And like I said, I've been getting all these email, letters, phone calls. Thank you, Chair.
I can't have Honorable Toth. Thank you very much for that announcement. And committee members, any others? Going once, going twice. 3 times. With that, on the motion to adjourn here at 12:33 PM.
I'm motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Honorable Don Toth. Do I have a second to adjourn at 12:33 PM?
Second, Yanito.
Curtis Yanito, thank you. Tia. With that, I'll go ahead and move for a roll call. Honorable Naz Begay,
Green.
Honorable George Toth,
Green.
Honorable George Toth, adjournment vote.
Green, sir.
Okay, Honorable Curtis Yanito.
Green.
With that, we do have Andy Naz, Honorable Andy Naz, and Honorable Vice Chair Jermaine Simonson excused. So with that, we have 3 in favor, 2 excused, and Chair not voting. We do hereby adjourn here at 12:33 PM. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Wednesday. Thank you.
Can I have your chicken, sir?